Yeah, I got a haircut. And yeah, we're in a new office. Hi, welcome back. Sarah here. I've been busy taking care of our move to a new apartment, but we're finally set up. This is how the new office space looks like, at least, this area right here. You can see my tarot decks are on display, they're all in one place. It's really nice. I'm very happy with our new office space. All right, so I have been out of practice with filming. I haven't filmed in like at least 4 weeks. To get back into it, I want to do like a casual tag that just gets me talking about tarot and decks again. So the tag I chose is Thankful Tarot. This one was created by Livi of Crescent Dreams Tarot. They created this tag in November, but they made it clear the tag can be done like all year round. It's not only like Thanksgiving themed. The gist of this tag is just to think about what we're grateful for, what we're thankful for about tarot, about different decks. Not only have I not filmed for a while, I also have not really done regular tarot readings for a while. So I hope that doing this, sharing and processing these things will help me get more into my old tarot routines and just get me in the mood of tarot again. So let's get to it. The first prompt is, what about tarot and cartomancy in general are you thankful for? I'm thankful for the fact that tarot exists and it's evolved into this whole like collective creation that we know as tarot now. Like, there's a reason why I got into tarot now versus like 10 or 20 years ago. I was just not into the like older aesthetics of tarot decks back then. I just feel more intrigued by and appealed to with different digital art decks, different collage decks, cute themes, rather than only like medieval or Renaissance themed decks. I think it's really cool that there are so many different decks that exist that we can read with and study with, that I can also just enjoy collecting for the sake of collecting and having. I'm also thankful that tarot just has so much to dive into and to think about. Like, there is so much in tarot to study and to get acquainted with. Someone could dedicate like a whole lifetime to studying the tarot and still have more things to learn. That someone is like all of us, really. And I am just really thankful to be able to have and collect all the decks that I do. I know that like being able to pay for all of these things is a privilege. And I am happy to have this privilege, to have the space and the money and the support of people in my life, to be able to collect these things and to share these things that I enjoy. The next prompt is an old deck you're thankful for. So I chose a tarot deck and an oracle deck for each of these just because. So an old tarot deck I'm thankful for is the Fountain Tarot. And an old oracle deck that I'm thankful for is the Spread Machine deck, specifically the Change expansion, Change edition. So the Fountain Tarot is an oldie but a goodie, and in scanning all the decks on my shelf, I chose this one as one I'm thankful for right now because I just feel very blessed to have this in my collection. I feel blessed that this exists and that I got to a point that I was able to understand and appreciate and find meaning from this deck. This deck is very comforting to read with. It doesn't feel very like overwhelming or overstimulating, but it also doesn't feel so simple that it's understimulating and therefore almost boring for me to read with. Not that every understimulating deck is boring. Sometimes we do need boring, we do need simple. But I'm saying that this deck does like balance the two. It's not too overwhelming and it's not too underwhelming either. This deck is one that I always return to whenever I just need to feel like some sort of comfort or familiarity. I have to force myself almost to like go use other decks because I feel like if I could only have like one deck, this might be a top contender for like that one deck in my collection. So yeah, that's the Fountain Tarot. And an old oracle deck I'm thankful for is the Spread Machine Oracle, the Change expansion. I only have a few cards with me right now because the others are in my like month ahead stack in the drawer somewhere. So what I've been doing with this deck the past few months has been so eye-opening and just really cool and very unique in my opinion. This oracle deck is all themed around concepts of change. That could be change in, the social activist way, so change in our relationships, change in our society, but it could also be related to change within ourselves. So what I've been doing with this deck is every month I have a different archetype card from the Archetypes deck by Caroline Miss. So for this month of April, I got the Alchemist, and I pulled 4 different cards from the Spread Machine Change deck, and I laid them all around the Alchemist. And what I did was I just journaled how these concepts relate to my understanding and my relationship with the alchemist. So, for example, so the word freedom came up, and some other like shadow work card came up. So I journaled about how those words relate to the alchemist, to my understanding of the alchemist archetype. So, for example, what I journaled about was how sometimes I need to hold more space for people who are creating their own reality, creating their own paths. I have had a tendency to judge people for wanting to change their situations, or to do different things with the things that they have than I would do. You know, part of my shadow work through this deck and around the alchemist card was realizing that other people have just as much autonomy and agency and freedom over their own lives as much as I do. And of course, I would hate for other people to judge me negatively on what I'm doing because it's my life. I'm figuring out the best way that I know how. You know, the same courtesy goes for other people. So that's an example of some of the shadow work that I've been doing thanks to this change deck, around the different archetypes and how I understand them. These archetypes that I pulled and the journaling, the reflection that I do, they could be related to the month that I'm pulling the card and doing the reading for. But honestly, I just enjoyed using them just to reflect on in a general sense. I don't always have to apply like these cards to the actual month or the current events. Yeah, that's how I've been using this really cool deck. It's a really underrated oracle deck. And oh yeah, this was the card that I got. Hold space. To be with someone without judgment, to accept someone's truth and to understand their reality, to practice love and compassion. So I thought it was really interesting synthesizing this meaning with the alchemist archetype. So I've been doing that every month and it's been very fulfilling. The next prompt is a new deck you're thankful for. So similarly, I've got tarot and an oracle deck. A new tarot deck I'm thankful for is the Creatures Tarot by Sarah Kathleen. And a new oracle deck that I'm thankful for is this really cool oracle deck called the Air Mail Oracle. Air Mail Oracle. Air Mail Oracle. This is the box that it comes in. I'll talk about that in a moment. The Creatures Tarot. I'm thankful for this because this was a deck that I most recently read with because I needed some comforting images. And I mentioned that the Fountain Tarot was comforting. This one is comforting in a different sense. Fountain Tarot is comforting because of its muted colors, the limited colors, and its familiarity. The Creatures Tarot is comforting kind of also because of the limited colors, but also because the creatures don't feel very judgmental at all. They feel very open-ended, very spacious in a way. I think that this deck is the perfect mix of like a spacious, like non-people deck, non-beings, non-character deck, as well as like being an actual character deck. There's a good mix of cards that have and don't have characters. And again, I like that the characters are not, I don't know, too judgmental or too strong, I guess, in any way. They just feel very open-ended, very neutral, very like holding space. This was the deck that I most recently read with. I pulled out my cards for the upcoming quarter, so April, May, June, and just did a reading reflecting on like those archetypes, those cards, and what might come up this quarter. So this deck just felt very comforting, and I just really like that this deck exists and that I get to have it in my arms, in my hands, and I get to read with it and take this with me in life. The new oracle deck I'm grateful for, oh my gosh, this is the Air Mail Oracle. Like I mentioned, it comes in this tuck box. I know that the deck and the creator are not that talked about on YouTube. So the creator is SG Stasi Designs. You can buy this deck via her Etsy shop. She has a lot of other really cool oracle decks as well. And there's a little fold out that comes with the deck that explains the history. So the premise of this deck is that the creator's grandparents exchanged a lot of letters, like snail mail letters, not just emails. They exchanged a lot of letters as her grandfather was a US merchant marine, entering service towards the end of World War II and eventually becoming a ship captain. Meanwhile, her grandmother stayed in the States, moving between different states and raising the creator's mom. And the creator was fortunate enough to inherit like the letters that the grandparents passed back and forth through all those years. The creator like collaged different elements of those letters into this Air Mail Oracle. So this feels like a very personal, almost like vintage kind of deck as well, but it also mixes in the creator's like touch of modern day and stuff. So this is what the cards look like. Sayings here that are that could be words that the grandparents could have written to each other. So there's a touch of like reality there too, a touch of groundedness, and there's just a touch of like sweetness. a touch of. There's a lot of sweetness in this deck. I've pulled cards from this deck as like a wrap-up message for the readings I've done the past couple months, and I have been surprised every time by how sweet the words, the phrases are. It just feels so gentle. You know, I probably also feel this way because I don't have much contact or memories or anything related to my own grandparents. So I get to live vicariously a little bit through this deck, you know? And it's really cool that all the ephemera, the stamps here, like these were taken from those actual like letters, those telegrams and the mail and stuff. I just think it is really, really cool. Really, really cool, really sweet. So that is the Airmail Oracle by SG Stasi Designs. Next is a deck pack that feels like a blessing because it's so good. The tarot and oracle cards I've chosen are the deck pack from the Livi Tarot and the deck pack from the Airmail Oracle, which I just mentioned. First, the Livi Tarot. I have the first edition. I know the second, the later edition has like gold foiling. I'm happy with mine even without the gold foiling. I feel like if I had to create an oracle deck or a tarot deck, I would choose like this little picture exactly. Not picture, it's a whole drawing really. I would just choose this drawing exactly because I love rainbows. They just make me so happy. Seeing the spectrum of red to purple, a heart like it's on fire here, just a little extra touch. There's stars and snakes and clouds. It just feels very like cosmic and artsy in a way. I don't know. I just really, really like this. I think it's fantastic. This is like my favorite deck back in all the other decks that I have. And then the Airmail Oracle deck back is also really good because similar to what I was mentioning about the front of the cards, how, you know, this ephemera was pulled from the creator's grandparents' letters, like the back is the same way. It's just really cool. The back tells you exactly what the front of the cards are going to look like. It's all of these different stamps and stuff like collaged together. Also, it's reversible, so it looks exactly the same upside down. So, two super cool deck backs. They're so good. Seriously so good. Next is a specific oracle deck you're thankful for. So Livi included this prompt because they said that people would be more likely to just include tarot and overlook oracle, but joke's on you, Livi. I've been including oracle this whole time. Okay, so the oracle deck I'm thankful for right now is the Essential Oils Oracle cards. Here's the box. The deck is by Lisa Powers, and the cards have this like really shiny, really shiny edging here. I don't shuffle this deck too much because I don't really use this deck for readings. I literally only use it for like putting on my card stand, just letting a message like sink in indefinitely and then swapping it out whenever I feel like I need to swap it out. And granted, I know diddly squat about essential oils and I don't plan to ever really get into them. So it's funny that I like this deck, but it's not funny, not so funny, or like it makes sense when I share it with you. So here's what the cards look like. We've got the essential oil in the middle. Again, not that I really know or care about what the essential oil is. And then the top and the bottom, we've got like different ways of looking at a situation. The top is the trigger statement or like the automatic thought. I can't do that. The true statement is here, for example, is I am a light. The little affirmation or motivational message at the bottom says, step forward and be the bright light that you are. Serve your purpose to the world by sharing your amazing gifts. I know how this sounds. If you're secular or atheist or more grounded, this might feel a little bit like woo or like really like, what the heck are you talking about? Or like, okay, thanks, like kind of deal. But I like the reframing of the trigger statement versus the true statement. And you know, not all of them will land. They are definitely more effective when I am more receptive to a message. Of course, sometimes it can feel silly when I'm just like reading it like to other people who I don't know how you're going to respond. Okay, so here's another example though. The trigger statement, or perhaps the automatic thought, is it doesn't make sense. The true statement, perhaps the reframing of the situation, is I see the bigger picture. So pulling this card, I see this as a reminder that even though whatever this is that doesn't make sense is happening, I can try to step back and see the bigger picture and see that maybe I don't understand the internal workings of a clock when I'm looking at it in a magnifying glass. But when I step back, I can see how the clock works as the big picture, how the clock works and functions and what its purpose is. Here's another example. I never get what I want versus I am a powerful creator. This one is definitely helpful for me, especially sometimes when I feel like I have like anxiety and I feel like, oh, like I never get what I want. I'm always like stuck. I always like have to struggle and blah, 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 blah. And this is a good reminder that I am a creator. I get to create the things that I want, the things that I need. So I have this out on my desk. And again, I just like to pull a single card to absorb the messages whenever I feel like I need to absorb a message. Next is a guidebook or cartomancy book that you're thankful for because it enriched your practice. Your Tarot Toolkit by Tom Benjamin. As the tagline says, this is a workbook for building clear, precise, confident reading. Even though now I haven't done readings for others in like probably a year at least, I know that these techniques are still helpful for doing readings for myself because of course, I still want readings for myself to be precise and confident and clear rather than, muddy and over-explainy and I give up on the reading halfway. Before I got this workbook, my readings tended to be very long and honestly very rambly. I realized, through my own observations and through this book that a lot of the times queerants don't want or need to know like the 5-paragraph essay about how I got to the answer of this card and this reading. Most of the time, what the querent just wants is their answer. I was looking for tips and techniques for how to like read cards better, a little bit faster, but also more in a way that is true to me and not just like me regurgitating like tarot meanings from, online websites. It gives me tips and it reminds me to take the essence of the tarot reading and deliver that essence, deliver that message. No need to get so caught up in the weeds of like all the different associations or what the different symbols mean if they're not actually applicable to the reading, to the answer. It's just a really cool way of cutting down all the BS of like rambly readings and like, let's just get to the point. I like getting to the point. I mean, I tend to like to ramble, but in theory, I like to just get to the point. I'm really looking forward to getting more workbooks in the future and trying other people's methods of learning and studying and reading the tarot. For sure, so far, like this book, Your Tarot Toolkit, has been the most enriching for my tarot practice and reading so far. Next is a spread you're thankful for. So the one I've chosen is from this Oracle deck guidebook, Messages from the Spirits of Nature Oracle by Dr. Stephen D. Farmer. So the spread here is the cross. You can see it's laid out in a cross format with cards in the center, in the top, bottom, left, right. This cross feels like a reduced version or a simplified version of the Celtic cross. This spread can be used for guidance on a specific issue, says the book, but the past times I've used the spread, I've just used it as like a week ahead reading. So it works pretty well for specific issues or for general readings. Center card number 1 is the representation of the issue. Cards 2 and 3 are on the left and right. Card 2 is the subconscious influence of which you're unaware. Card 3 on the right is the external influence of which you are aware. Cards 4 and 5 are on the bottom and top. Card 4 is what is required for resolution. Card 5 is the resolution. Like I said, this feels like a simplified version of the Celtic cross because it talks about like subconscious versus conscious influences and internal versus external. And what I like most is the last 2 cards, what is required for resolution and the resolution. It goes back to what I was saying and learning about this like concise readings, effective readings kind of thing, where not only like do I need an answer, but what is the outcome going to be, or what are the next steps? What is required for resolution? What is the resolution? Those feel like perfect spread positions to me. So yeah, that's been my favorite general spread or favorite week ahead reading, the cross spread from this book. And lastly, the last prompt is a person or multiple that you're thankful for being a part of the tarot community. Well, before naming some people, I want to share that I'm thankful for the tarot community overall. I think it's really cool that there are people and videos and content creators who are dedicated to like so many different aspects of tarot. If you want to use tarot for creative writing, there are people and videos for that. If you want to talk about like tarot collecting, whether you're for or against collecting, there are people who talk about that. If you want to talk about like different art styles throughout like the ages, people do walkthroughs discussing these different art styles, comparing these different decks. And we have so much content that is, just fun and lighthearted and a breath of fresh air in this hard, trying world that we can live in. And at the same time, we also have lots of videos and content of the deeper side of tarot, people doing deep dives, people doing like month-long or year-long challenges, like the Deck and Walk, like astrology series, like spread creation series. There's just so so many different things that there is to learn and to appreciate about tarot. And there's just so many different lenses that people see tarot in, and different things that people are bringing to the table in tarot tube. So it's just really, really cool. There's so much going on. There's always so many things to do and so much to look at. So that's me waxing poetic and being thankful for the tarot community. For specific people, I'll just mention a few people here. So I'm thankful that Livi, Crescent Dreams Tarot, you're a part of the tarot community. I think that Livi does super great tags, and I also like that Livi is just candid about things going on in their life. It just feels very personable, and it inspires me to want to share more about myself and to hold space more for other people going through things. And again, I just really like the different tags that Livi has created. Again, Tarot Community Build, this tag, the court cards videos that they've made, Practical Pentacles and Severe Swords, and the suits related tags that they did this past year. I'm thankful for Marlena Teresa and BB of Pure Red Velvet. Marlena Teresa has done her Deccan walk for like the past entire year, and now she's coming out with a book of all those Deccan inspired spreads. I think it's so cool that she did that Deccan walk in the first place and got so many people on board through her own studies and educational content. And also, BB of Pure Red Velvet has been doing a series related to Venus as it's transiting through the different zodiac signs every month. It's been really educational to learn like very little about astrology, look into Venus and the zodiac signs. You know, I get to learn about these different zodiac signs and try different spreads every month for that reason. So it's really cool that, going back to my earlier point, there are so many different people doing different kinds of content and challenges and, you know, study alongs like on YouTube, on TarotTube. Like, there really is something for everyone. I'm also thankful for Auntie Kay's Tarot, Laura of Aquamarine 18, and Scholarbot Tarot. Others I might be forgetting right now, but those three come to mind. They talk about things like colonialism and queerness and social issues as they intersect with the tarot. And I find that kind of discussion so valuable. I don't always know what to contribute to those kinds of discussions, but I appreciate that people are talking about them. And, you know, I get to learn from them in that way. Social issues and tarot are not mutually exclusive, you know? So it's cool to listen to how those things intersect and what we can or should be doing and knowing about these things. I'm thankful for a couple of certain people, Joe and Christine. They don't have YouTube channels, but they comment on some of my videos, and they've actually joined the Sass Witches server, which I like helped advertise to them. So it's been cool like interacting and chatting like on a separate platform that is more personable to me than this YouTube platform. So it's cool like making pals through this YouTube channel thing. And for these two particular individuals, like they just comment on a lot of my stuff and they share some really cool insights every time. I'm just very thankful that you're here and you're, you know, giving me some support and some encouragement. I really appreciate that. And lastly, like I am super duper thankful for the tarot friends that I've made in person, the ones that come to and participate in these meetups, whether they're in person or online. It's just really fun and fulfilling knowing that we have our small but mighty tarot group, tarot friend group, tarot study group, you know. It's cool like sharing what's going on with our lives, as well as different decks that we've been getting or not getting, studies and learning about the tarot together. So it's just really, really cool like learning about all this stuff together with people in person. All right, well, that is the tag. That is the first video filmed in like over 4 weeks. Woo! If you have any other videos or content creators or tags or literally anything about TarotTube that you are thankful for, that you appreciate, that you want to share, please always feel free to share in the comments. I'm always open to learning about new people and just seeing, you know, what else is happening outside of my own immediate awareness of TarotTube. I'm looking forward to making more videos and figuring out where to go next with my channel and what I want to record next. And with that, that is all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.